Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas. And today I'm showing you how to create the 3 cards in my Be My Valentine class to go. This stamp set is too cute, y'all. So you get the parts to build the bee, plus you get little hearts and little honeycomb shapes, flowers, and of course, and little faces to put on your bees. And then the fun puns that go along with the set. So this is a really sweet stamp set. It's great for Valentine's Day or anniversaries or just to let somebody know you love them. It's fun for kids. It's there's so many things I would like to use this card or the stamp set for, and probably will. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I know I always say that, but this one really is. I go for the fun stamp sets. Sometimes I do the sweet ones, but I really like the fun ones. So let's get started. The host code for this set is right there on the screen. I'll leave that up for just a second. We'll start in just a second. I realized I do have stuff to say. So it's free with a $35 purchase if you're in the US, or if your purchase reaches $50, then I'll give you a full set of these adhesive backed hearts and flowers. I love these. I'm using them up really quick. So the colors match the suite, the Be My Valentine suite. It's so it's Petal Pink, Daffodil Delight, Sweet Sorbet, and Pool Party are the colors in this. And they're great for projects that don't even include the bee, but they're perfect for the bee. What else was I going to tell you about this set? So the $35 or the $50, that is pre-tax and shipping, of course. When you get the class, so for each card, you'll get 2 envelopes that, of course, you can stamp and make match your cards. But you get 2 envelopes, and then inside the envelope, you have your card base. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess, because I really should have switched to my other camera. So you have your card base, and then inside your card base, you'll have all of your parts and pieces. And then so you'll have 2 cards per card design. And then, so those will be in another labeled package so that you know what's what. And of course, I always let you know like what day I emailed the PDF and stuff like that, so that if you don't put the cards together for, I don't know, 6 months or a year, then you still know exactly where to go to find the PDF tutorial and this video, so that if you want to watch it or just look at the PDF tutorial, you're good to go. I do not include any ribbon that I use. So, I mean, there may be special circumstances, but for this one, I'm not including the ribbon, and I'm not including the adhesive hearts and flowers unless your order reaches the $50, then you'll get a free package. Okay, I think that is all of the stuff I needed to say, except there's another thing I need to say. Okay, so this class can be, or not class, but this stamp set can be found on page 10 of the mini catalog. And the bundle cost $38.50 in the US. I'm in the US, so I'm always going to tell you US prices. The Be Mine suite, which includes designer series paper, the stamp set, and the fun little punch that goes along with it, the Sweet Sorbet ribbon, pillow boxes, the hearts and flowers, and the Be Mine designer series paper. So all of that's in the suite. It's $75. So if you place an order and include the whole suite, then you also get to get, well, if you're ordering with my host code, you'll get another set of the hearts and flowers for free from me. You'll get the class from me, and you'll also get to choose something from our celebration brochure for free. So that's always fun this time of year. So in January and February, you can order for every $50 order that you place, or every $50 in product that you order, you get a free item from the celebration brochure. So if you have any questions, if that's as clear as mud, then just reach out and I will do a better job of explaining that. Here's my email. If you have questions or want to reach out about anything, this is also a great time of year to join my team. When you sign up as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator during January or February, there's fun perks for that too. And of course, it's always just a fun perk to be a demonstrator. We get to see things early. We get to play with things early. We have team meetings and just so many fun things to do. Meeting, that doesn't sound fun. I need to think of a new name for my team meetings, because meetings don't sound fun. They sound like work, but they're not. They're a lot of fun. There's stamping involved and visiting and chatting. And I am rambling today. I've been by myself for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to hide that email again. I'm going to switch cameras and we're going to make some cards. Okay, so I realized I did not tell y'all about my hair. I don't know if you noticed, but I have purple. So not every year, but every few years for my birthday, I like to get my gray covered up with a little bit of purple, because purple's my favorite. And why not, right? It's fun. It washes out eventually. And it's just something different. So I am grabbing the pieces to my B right now. The sentiment I'm going to use on this one is Happy Valentine's Day. That is not the right sentiment. There it is. This class should arrive to you in time for Valentine's Day. It might be a little bit of a squish, but a little bit of a rush there, but it should arrive in time. So here's all of the pieces. So this glass mat I'm using, that's something that you can get if you sign up as a demonstrator. We don't have it for sale right now. One of my favorite things about it is this little silicone tray here, because I can put all of my pieces in this tray. I use it for other things too, but whenever I'm working from a kit like this, I like to use all of my pieces in, I like to put them in this tray just so I can keep up with them. And okay, so I've got my tuxedo black, and I'm going to stamp. You have a long piece of vellum here. You don't need this much, but I like to give you extra just in case something gets smudged or you just don't like the way it's stamped. Oopsies do occur, and I understand that. So I like to give you a little bit of extra. So what you want to do first is stamp your little wings on the vellum with the tuxedo black. And I'm going to set that aside because that takes a little while to dry on that vellum. So I'm just not going to mess with it for a minute. I'm going to do a lot of other things. So the first thing that I'm going to do now is grab my Happy Valentine's Day and my Sweet Sorbet ink and just stamp that on this circle. I do close my inks every time, or at least almost every time, because I have put my fingers in them way too often. Oh, that's loud. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, this piece is bigger than you actually need, but it's good to have something to grip, and it's good to be able to turn it around if you mess up. So you want to make sure that you leave space between the edge of your stamp and the edge of the card, because you're going to be stamping the black parts of the B. So I'm using tuxedo black again to ink that up, and you can give it, with this ink pad, you can give it a little twist if you want to. You don't want to do that with the foam pads, but this one is different. Okay, so love that these are clear. so you can mostly see what you're doing. Okay, and then that fits right in here. So you can punch it. So that's why you want to make sure you leave that space, because you want to have plenty of room. One of my bees, I cut off the end of his tail, but then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to pretend like it's supposed to look like that and just went on with the day. So I don't know if you noticed, but okay, so this one is for the wings, but it also looks like a heart. And then you have a little heart here. And I love that. I forgot his face. So you can choose whatever little face you want to put on your bee. I like a smiley face. This face here, what is up with that one? That does not look like a happy bee. So I like the happy ones, or the winky one. Okay, so if you have sweet sorbet ribbon, use that to tie a bow. You can skip the bow. You can use twine or a different ribbon, just whatever you have. It's all good. It doesn't have to be just like mine. I might trim those shorter, but for now, that's how I want it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting this together. This white piece is for the inside of your card, so that can go to the side. And I don't know if you noticed this little guy. This is just an extra circle. I use the deckled circles dies to cut these out. And I give you 2 just in case you make a boo-boo. You can start over on that one. I don't do the insides of cards because it's just a rectangle, and I assume you have white cardstock that you can make a new rectangle out of it. It's a 4-inch by 5 1/4-inch piece for those of you that don't know or don't get the PDF. I have all the measurements are in the PDF. I meant to grab another liquid glue before I sat down to record, and I forgot. So I'm going to have to do that real quick. Okay, so the first thing is just to make sure your card is opening up and not upside down, and then put your flowers, your DSP, on that card base. I ordered adhesives a couple of days ago, but I didn't realize how low I already was. I'm hoping I ordered enough. So I'm putting it kind of towards the top and kind of over towards the left a little bit. I like to use a glue dot. So I just put my bow on there, and then I pull my bow off with the glue dot attached, and then I can put it right here. And I think that ribbon it's a little long, but I think it'll be okay. All right, if your wings are not dry yet, then you can put it aside and just wait. Actually, you know what? Let's do the inside of the card. I want to make sure that's really dry. So we'll go ahead and do the inside. So the inside for my card, I decided to use You Make My Heart Buzz. So, and you'll notice that some of my stamps, they're stained. They're red. Just our red, purples, pinks. A lot of those colors are colors that have those colors in them. They often stain. It's not a big deal. They still stamp the same. You can use other colors with them. It's not going to bleed. Just make sure they're clean. Okay, so You Make My Heart Buzz. And then I have the little hearts and there's a slightly bigger heart. So I like to use the same block, and I just mount one on one side and then I flip it over and mount the other one on the other side. I'm going to stamp these up here, and then this one can go down here in the corner. And then just for fun, really like y'all, because I am fussy cutting these little bees out for you. I think I lost my mind a little bit. Next time, might not do that. It took longer to do this, I think, than it did to prepare the rest of the class materials. So I think next time, this will not be a thing. But it is a fun way to decorate the inside of your card. It's just a lot different when you're doing one card as opposed to prepping a whole bunch of cards for people. So I just put a little bit of glue on there. Try not to move it around too much. Then, oh, so much better having a full liquid glue. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the inside. Okay. So the way I like to test it is just down here at the bottom. It's still smearing a little bit, so I am going to go ahead and use my heat tool. And if you have the black embossing powder, then as soon as you stamp it, you could also go ahead and put embossing powder on it and then do the heat tool, and you'll have like little shiny places on your wings, which is pretty cool. Okay, so there's my wings. They did lighten up a little bit as I dried them with the heat tool, but that's okay. I kind of like it lighter, but if you don't, if you want it darker, then do the embossing powder, like I said, and you could also do clear embossing powder. Will hold that color a little bit better. Well, the black would hold it better, but if you're gonna dry it like I did. Okay, so I'm just centering that up in there, and giving it a good punch. I like to punch with both thumbs. These can be a little tight. Okay, so I'm going to use my glue dot again. This time, I'm putting it on the front of my wings because I'm going to attach this then to the back of my bee. So just wherever you want it. So I'm going to use a dimensional right here and a dimensional right here. I'm keeping them both towards the back of the bee. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue and put it there. I got a little extra there probably, but that's okay. I just want to make sure I have it where I can secure it to this part. I'm kind of going by feel here. Ooh, I almost didn't put the placement of that just right, but it looks like I planned it, doesn't it? It's like right up to the edge. So be careful with how far forward you put that second Stampin' dimensional, and you could even leave it off completely. I think the first card that I made, my prototype, I guess, I don't think I used the dimensional, the second one. I think I just used one, but I tend to get carried away with Stampin' dimensionals. Okay, so I'm just going to grab some of these flowers. Forget. So I usually use the sticky end to pick up my embellishments, but for these, the pointy end works better. There we go. And there's our first card, complete with inside. Okay. And then, like I said, you get to do all of that again. And you could do each step, you know, together for both cards. You can do different sentiments. It's up to you how you want to do it. Oh, before we move on, let me show you. So these are the patterns that you get in the Be Mine 12 by 12 DSP. Aren't those fun? Several of them you can use on any kind of card. It doesn't have to be a B card. It can be um, anything, anything that works with stripes or flowers or um, that is that plaid. I forget. Anyway, let's move on to the next card, shall we? Okay, so this one, do you know what I didn't do? Oh, my gravy. I forgot to um, stamp my envelope. I always like to stamp my envelope. So I think for this one, I'm just going to do the 3 hearts right here on the flap. And on the front, I'm going to do hearts in the bottom corners. And that's it for that one. Very simple. Okay, so this second card. Love this card. So you have 2 bees on this one. So I gave you 2 strips that you can do bees on. I think you can get both bees on 1 strip. So you have extra wiggle room there still if you mess up. Or if it's just not quite what you want it to be the first time. So for all my bees, I'm using the Daffodil Delight ink. Remember to get away from the edge a little bit. My strap's a little crooked on that one. I think I might have done this one a little crooked too. So if that bothers you, you can re-stamp it. I'm okay with it. So I'm going to do the same smiley face on one of the bees. The other bee, I'm going to do the little winky face. So make sure you remember to flip it around so that you can put the face in the right direction. And actually, I did mess up because one of mine I want to be facing this way, but the other one I want to be facing the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one. See what I mean? This is why I always have extra paper for when you're stamping. Can't do it backwards for some reason. Okay, so that's how it goes in the punch. Oh no, I did black on my yellow. That's so sad. Okay. So I'm inking that up. Okay, so I'm getting that winky face. So this one is facing this way. So I want this one to face this way. Just like that. Okay, so the wings of this one, I need to make sure my wings are clean because these are petal pink wings. I think we're good. So it helps to have your punch in front of you so that you can see which way your paper is going to be placed into it. So I want my wings to be that way, and then I'll flip this around and they'll be this way. For the sentiment on this one, I'm using "You'll Always Be the One for Me." And I'm just using the tuxedo black to stamp it. If you want to add ribbon, I'm just going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the back of my hexagon. And then I'm going to take my ribbon. Need to figure out where the top is. Okay, so there's the top. So I'm going to start that way. I'm just kind of at an angle. Add some ribbon behind it. Make sure I've got it poking out far enough. Sure do. Come off the ends. And then this is ready to go on my card with dimensionals. But you know what? My card is not ready for this part. So let's get that ready real quick. So again, you always want to make sure your card is opening the correct direction. This time, the designer series paper, see, this is the opposite side of where I got the bees from for the inside of the other card. So this time, your designer series paper, it goes from top to bottom, but you want to center it from side to side. Again, just a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to put the dimensional up here on the heart and right here at the tail. So this one goes up here like so. And then this one will be a little bit of glue here. Dimensional on the wings, and then another dimensional at the tail. And that should be enough to hold everything in place. So this one I'm going to put right down here. And you're going to want to be careful if it hangs over like mine did. So you can do one of two things. You can adjust the bee and make sure you have room for it before you put everything down. You can turn your card sideways so you have plenty of room to put those bees, but then your hearts will be sideways, so that's probably not a great idea. You can also just trim off the very tip of the wing and the tail if that bothers you. I'm leaving it just like it is. You can see I had enough room if I had just moved everything over just a little bit. So what I did when I made the original card was I put the bees on this part, and then I put the whole thing as one together on the card base. When I'm recording videos, my brain just kind of, oops, there's too many things to think about, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to use this little red heart right here. And I'm going to put it just right here. Ta-da! And the front of that card is done. The inside of the card, oops, I need my inside piece. So you have a strip of the same designer series paper. I didn't want to waste any. So I just used my leftover strips at the bottom to put on the bottom. So I'm going to put these just along the bottom edge of the inside pieces. Then I'm stamping just the I love you part. So I'm going to use my Sweet Sorbet again. And I'm just inking up I love you. Put it towards the top, but not right at the very top. There we go. Oh, I got a little bit of the letter underneath it, but it's okay. Then I'm going to use those 3 hearts together and place those at the top. And if you smudge like that and it bothers you, take the other heart and just cover it up like that. And then you're good to go. Okay, so second card with the inside. And then I think that for this one, for the envelope, I'm going to do a heart on the back again. In fact, I think I'm going to do the way I did them on the front of the other one. Sort of. Then I'm going to put a scrap piece inside. I don't think it'll bleed through, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to put a scrap piece of cardstock inside, and then I'm going to just stamp a bee. Wouldn't that be fun to get in the mail? I always try to stamp things so that the excitement starts before you even open your envelope. Cute, cute. You know what I think I'm going to go ahead and do? I feel like the back needs a little bit more of the flap. So I'm going to take those 3 hearts and just put those in the center of the flap. Now it looks finished. Okay, so our final card. So this one has 3 of these pieces. You get 1 for the inside, and then you get 1 for the front, and then you have 1 extra in case you mess up the front. I don't really see how you could mess up the front on this one, but I also know I've got some perfectionists out there. So I encourage you to go with it and just call it art. When something's not exactly the way you want it, the stamping should be fun, but I get it. It takes a little while to let go of those perfectionist tendencies when we're stamping. So I'm just getting Daffodil Delight. Oh, see, I messed that up, but that's okay because that's going to be covered up. So I'm getting Daffodil Delight on my brush here. This is one of my favorite things to use this glass mat for. It is such a perfectly smooth surface when I'm using my blending brushes. Okay, so I'm just getting it a little heavier in the center. Most of that's going to be covered up. Kind of fading out onto the top. And I'm staying, I don't know, an inch or so away from the tippy top. There we go. I have ink on my glass mat now, so it comes with this microfiber cloth. I've got it damp, so now I have another microfiber cloth. I don't know that first. I think it's a microfiber, the one that comes with it. Anyway, there we go. So you have a little strip of designer series paper. Let's go ahead and put that. About a quarter of an inch or so from the bottom. You want to make sure you have a little bit of that yellow showing. But I made my yellow go almost to the bottom. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it goes pretty close down there. Okay, there we go. So then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to go ahead and put it on my card base. There is, for most card making, there's not any specific order that you need to do things, although I probably should have stamped my sentiment first. Whoops. So for this one, I'm using You're Sweet as Honey. I'm going to go ahead and ink up the honey first. And I'm using Daffodil Delight to do that. I like to go from light to dark. So now for the rest of it, I'm using Sweet Sorbet. Try to make sure I get all of that S and none of the H. So then I'm going to just stamp that right here towards the top. I'm going to be brave and leave that open for a minute. So you have two pieces of this. Again, it's just in case. I'm not cleaning my stamps in between these cards, so I have got a mess on my desk. Out of sight. So I'm using Granny Apple Green, and I'm stamping once, and then I'm moving it over and stamping again. Then I'm going to flip this and use the other what is this called? The other stamp. And I'm doing the same thing. Then I'm going to flip again. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp off slightly. I didn't stamp off as strongly on this one. I'm going to bring it up and stamp it right about there. We'll see how that works. So to stamp my flowers, I'm going to use Sweet Sorbet. I try not to have too many colors that y'all have to come up with when I make these. Sometimes I get a little carried away, but okay, so gonna do a darker one and a lighter one. Then I'm gonna do a darker one up here and a darker one. Let's stamp that one off and do another lighter one right here. So then I'm going to use the other one and I'll use a dark one here, and you can see they overlap, and that's okay. All right, I'm not going to put that one all the way at the tip. So it looks messy, but it's okay. So you can do your flowers however you want. So then I have a smaller piece for the wings and the bigger piece for the bee. All right. I'm going to use Wink of Stella. I can't remember if I put it in I don't think I did, in the list of suggested things that you should get for this class. I might go in and add it over on my blog, but make sure that it's very dry before you use the Wink of Stella. Mine is dry. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Wink of Stella, and I like to put a little bit down on my scrap paper or my silicone mat, or now that I'm using this glass mat, it's perfect. So I put a little just drop on whatever surface, and then I use that to pick up my fun Wink of Stella. It's easier to do this before you punch it out, but then you've got to wait again to let it dry. And it may smear some of your ink even if it is dry, but that's okay because it just is. You can make it look like you did on purpose, that the wings are not quite see-through, but mostly. Okay, so we'll let that dry. I always keep my Wink of Stella standing up when I'm not using it. You see if you can see that shine. It's still wet, but I'll show it again in a minute. So I'm going to set that there and let it dry. And I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of this piece. On my card. And because I can, I'm just going to go ahead and add the little bits of embellishments that I'm using. So I'm putting a heart there. And then I think I'm going to put some flowers just in the center of these flowers. So that one. This one. I'm going to put a red one in the other one just because I think it'll stand out a little bit. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put it right here. I'm not going to put one on that one. Okay, so the inside of this card, I decided to make it a thank you card. So your sweetest honey, and then it's going to say thank you on the inside. And for this, I'm using my go-to greetings, and they really are my go-to greetings. So I'm using this thank you. The images on the front are a little smaller than they actually are. And it says that like right here, it says the images are at, I think 90%. So they're not super smaller, but a little bit. And then, see, this is why I spent so much time fussy cutting. It's because I didn't just do the bee on the first card. I also did honey jars on this last card. And I think this time I'm going to put it on this side. You can put it whichever side you want, but since this one has that ribbon that goes down like that, I have my space heater on today, and I moved it to the other side of the room. And I turned it to where it wasn't on just all the time. And I'm hoping that y'all can't hear it. I'm afraid every time it comes on that it's coming through the microphone. Okay, I think that's dry now. And I don't think it's going to focus. Can you see the sparkles? I don't know. In person, they're beautiful. Got a little wild and crazy with my glue dots earlier. So I'm having to pick up a rogue glue dot there. And our third card. Oh, but we need another fun envelope. Okay, so I got the honeycomb and I have stamped it. Or not stamped it. I've inked it up with Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to stamp it off the flap here on the back. And then I'm going to somehow, yeah, I knew there was a way. So I'm going to join these up and stamp them again. And then I'm going to turn it very carefully, stamp it one more time. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close, and I like the effect. And then on the front, I'm going to do another bee, because why not? This time, oh, I was going to say this time I'm going to use the Winky Bee, but I used the Winky Bee on the front of the other one, so I'll just use the Smiling Bee again. This is a one stamp set. You want to make sure that your black ink is really inked up well. Should be using a lot of it. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, And this one was just real simple with the hearts. Oh, but you know what? The flowers would have been good on the front of this too. Now I think about it. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for watching. Again, the host code for this class is right there. And it is available through January. I couldn't remember where my planner was. So I'm just looking at the wall calendar. So it's available through January 23rd, 2024. So put in that host code when you order on my online store, and then I will send you the PDF tutorial after. I think it's going to go out on the 25th or 26th. We'll see, one of those days. And then the following, I believe Monday or Tuesday. I think Tuesday, maybe Monday. I will ship. It's on my blog. I'm just blanking with dates right now. But it'll ship the week after ordering ends. That gives me time to order anything extra that I need to, and to prep the class, because there is a lot of prep work for this one. All right, y'all have a great day. I hope you're staying warm, and that you're getting plenty of time to stamp. Happy stamping.